You know what I just realized? I think the after hours event is scheduled an hour later because of daylight savings, and I don't think any of us ever caught it. Da-da-da-bum. Da-da-da-dum. Let's turn on the camera. All right. So I think everything's working. For people that don't know, my computer has been having some crazy issues recently. And fun fact is that my computer's custom water cooled, right? So when I have a hardware issue, like I had, hardware issue, basically I had to take the whole motherboard out. I'm assuming y'all can hear me and see me. I'll show you all this. So like when you have a hardware issue, you have a water cooled computer. That's all the water that I had to drain out of my computer, right? Just so I could replace the thing in it this weekend. So that has consumed most of my life, is fixing that computer. And then I still had to go pour that stuff out. So pros and cons of having a water cooled computer. There you go. Its pro is that it's super, super quiet, right? And good temperatures. Bad thing is when something goes wrong, it's catastrophic, right? It's not catastrophic. It just takes a long time to fix anything, right? That was me swapping out an solid state hard drive on the back of the motherboard. Anyways, sorry, ranting. Hope you guys are doing well. I feel like I had to tell somebody my nightmare. I actually posted about it because it was just such a pain to deal with. So let's just go over the, let's see, let me close out of anything that's personal here. Let me close out of this really quick before we start, because I don't want to, I don't want my personal account info getting out. Let's pause that. All right, so let's go ahead and switch to the main screen here. Okay, cool, it works. Jay, somebody type in chat, make sure that my mic's working, and that I sound okay before I continue. All right, we're good. Cool. I literally had to reset everything up. I had to install a whole new OS, so I had to redo. I couldn't import my OBS software stuff back into my computer. Like it was a total pain in the butt. That's all. So if things don't work right, bear with me today. But let's go in profits and wins and go over that really fast. One M&Q contract. Someone's making $100. It's actually cool seeing people trade M&Q contracts, right? There's another $1,000 there. Here's another $2,000 across multiple accounts. I actually just finished passing an evaluation on, we're going Blue Sky, because I did post it in Blue Sky's chat. I didn't post it in ours, but I just finished up just another eval. I switched my accounts. I used to do the 25K accounts, and so on their Black Friday sale, I went ahead and switched my accounts to the 50K. So you can see right there, day one, 900, 900, 900, 300. So now that eval is passed. And I did this 300 over here by trading M&Q contracts last night. So it wasn't a bad way. Now, I don't suggest people trade overnight, but Asian session trades very, very different and can move very, very rapidly all at once. So it doesn't typically make big moves, but then it's like when we make big moves, it's like all of a sudden, we can drop 10, 20 points in, a couple seconds, but be completely stagnant like right before. So maybe we'll go over kind of trading Asian session, London session a little bit today. $400 because I had been trading more Asian and London session recently, just because I've been traveling. And so I found just trading the mornings worked out for me, during Thanksgiving and stuff like that. Approved on payouts right there. Nice. 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 15 days of trading. Sick. I wonder what size accounts those are. I know you're usually in here. So tell me what size accounts those are. There's another couple $100 overnight, not bad for overnight session. 83. Quite up. It looks like you've gone down to trading M and Q's ICE, at least on that day, or maybe it was like, a small opportunity on M and Q. This was the trade from, what was this trade? This trade was Friday. As we started to go up on Friday, I was in it for 5 contracts. I was looking for the 75 level. I actually pretty much got stopped out because you can see how close my stop was. So I did stop out of this for about $3,000 profit. Wasn't bad. We can kind of go over that. I think we should go over that breakout if y'all are up for that, because I actually recorded part of that live and why I took the trade when I took the trade. One of my other accounts was up almost $3,000 on that account. I think that's a static account too. I can tell it's a static account because of this right here. Because I keep my stops really, really tight on static accounts. I don't like static accounts personally, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so you can see just people crushing it with Qronos, a bunch of other things. Qronos did take a loss last week. Our QZeus took a loss last week on Friday. I think it was Friday. But this is why it's like important for you not to be oversized, over leveraged, and know that no script is perfect. No script is going to make 100% win rate, right? But 84% win rate is pretty darn good. And so so I think maybe if I still have my stuff saved here, let's see if I can bring up ES on the 5-minute here. Because this is something that I wanted to show people, because this is like so textbook. All right, so here we go. We are on ES. We are on the 5-minute here. I'm confused. Oh, here we go. Well, did I mark it on the 15-minute or the 5-minute on Friday? I want to show y'all why I got in when I got in on Friday, because this was like a textbook trade for me on Friday. Actually, let's look at the 2-minute. 2-minute will be even better, I think, for this. So long story short, ES and NQ were like just battling, right? On Friday. It was Friday, right? Very nuts. Yeah. Okay. So this is it. So long story short, when you look at this on the 2-minute, I think it's really, really obvious that this is a trend down, right? And so literally, that was what I was looking at. Something like this. I drew the trend off this one and this one, right? Not this one. So those wicks wicked out of it. But this is what I was waiting for. I was not going to, and we also have a pivot point right at like this range here on the 15-minute, right? But NQ kept on looking like it wanted to kind of go up on Friday, right? So I was waiting to trade NQ, right, on Friday. We'll kind of go here. So this is actually kind of an interesting scenario, because NQ and ES were moving in opposite directions pretty much, right? So you can see at 10, right, starting at 10:30, we just kept on going down, right? And on ES, but if you go to NQ, you can see NQ. Well, let me turn those off, because we don't need it like that. All right, so that way it looks the same. Okay, cool. So This is in Q on Friday. So as in Q is just trading sideways here, right? In this block right here, right? ES was going like this. And so you can kind of see that back and forth, right? This pop right here, right? That high right there at 128 correlates with this high right there. So long story short, I was looking for a long on NQ, but I knew NQ wasn't going to move until ES broke that trend line, right? And so I went long. That was that long you saw for $3,000, right? With 5 contracts, right? And I didn't take the long anywhere in this zone. I took that long once we had this pullback right here. Is once I took that long, right? On NQ, doesn't look like anything. Like it looks like, why would I go 5 contracts in? But it's because I was looking at ES, I was looking at the correlation, right? And I was waiting for it to break this downwards trend. We had that push up, that little pull back here, right? And now I know that I'm looking for that long on NQ as well. They are correlated in a way, but like this is like correlated breakout trading, if you could call it something like that, right? It's just when you see this enough, right, where it's like you see NQ chopping sideways and then you see ES trending down, right? Typically what's going to happen is when we break that trend down and we start getting a push to the upside on ES, you will see that then push on NQ, right? As well. And so something that I just wanted to show people, because it was like my timing on that trade was so awesome. And I do have a video of it. I have to find it now. It was on the computer before it just went kaput, but I have access to the hard drive, or at least part of the hard drive. The hard drive is what went bad, the SSD. So I just want to show people that, because it's like, people don't think about how these things are correlated. People will see ES moving down and see NQ moving sideways and be like, there's no correlation, right? But I just showed y'all how you can still trade when there is no correlation, right? It saved me from being able to, avoid taking any longs or shorts in this range here, right? I was just patient. So just kind of a fun little fact, because I thought it was like textbook perfect, and I recorded at least part of it. And maybe I'll be able to make that into a video for y'all. Let's go into the chat here. What is that 84% win rate time frame? On QZeus, it's the 5 minute. That's has the high time frame. There's something else too that I've been looking at. If somebody wants to mess with it, well, there's something else I've been looking at, is using Qronos on ES, but using SPY and SPX and some of the other top dollar charts some of the companies that are inside SPX or inside of SPY, right, to take trades on ES with. It's very complex, but I'm kind of looking into something like that right now, seeing how that will play out. But let's see, anybody in here that needs to be invited up? Let's see. Hold on. Invite to speak. Yeah. So, so that's kind of it. You got, if you get a chance today, I've been scalping Qline, was wondering if you have any insights or that you can confluence. Honestly, scalping with Qline is kind of like interesting, right? So I'll show you guys this. Let's minimize this. Let's go into Qline. So I don't typically like Qline, right? I'm maybe it's because I'm more of just a manual trader, right? So this is my Qgrid setup and my Qpro setup. This is the stuff that I've been using for a while, right? This blue line here is an SMA, 50 SMA as well, trying to get it to match up with the Qline as much as or the midline as much as I can, right? Because you've heard me talk about midline bounces and taking trades off the midline, right, to the downside or to the upside, right? But basically, like I've been playing around with the idea of like, what happens if you just take a long off of the midline, right? When we go above it, and then when we go below it, you just take a short, right? And kind of trying to build that into a backtesting thing so we can kind of see how that performs over time. You know, it's definitely it's profitable, I think, if you're running it in the morning, but using specifically Qline, um, I would be Qline's like here. Let's do this. Let's do Q Pro. Let's turn on Qline. So I'm using a length of 9. You probably have to open it up a little bit. I mean, the whole thing with the Qline is I would be using using the midline here, right? And only be taking trades in the direction of if we're above or below this mid band. So if we got this little pullback here, I would not be shorting this on the Qline, right? I'd be looking to trade the bounce, right? And this flip up on the Qline. The Qline performs pretty well on big moves, right? But can be harder in chop areas like this. So if we have big news, right, or something like that, the Qline is also very dependent on what box setting that you're running. This is a 2 Renko here, so it's like let's go out to the 4 Renko and see here. So the 4 Renko. 4 Renko is a lot harder today. I mean, again, we're kind of our days are looking kind of more choppy and choppy. This is typical once you're in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like the moves aren't as strong as they were a month ago, right? We end up with a lot more stuff that looks like on a Renko chart. We're going to end up with a lot more stuff that looks like this versus looks like this going straight down, right? And so you have to kind of take that into consideration, right? So with Qline, you know, I'd be looking for, this is where it's like Qline's interesting because I think you still need to correlate it with something. Like I wouldn't be trying to catch the bottom of the band here, right? Just because, mainly because like we could end up like this, where we just end up going straight through, right? And even if we did start to flip on the Qline, you can see how we get the rejection right here. I think it's always important to utilize this with your higher time frames and know where we are. Are we above or below VWAP, for example, right? Are we coming close to a pivot, right? What does the day's range look like, right? So like if we go to, you know, like here's the thing. If we went red today, let's go to here, right? If we went red today, right, where do you think potentially we opened up here, right, today, right? If we started to come down, right, where are we going to most likely potentially find support? We could find support maybe on the top of this range somewhere in that zone. And then the next zone would be the bottom of these wicks to the bottom of these candles. So though that's where I'm looking for the day's range to go to if we start to potentially go down, right? You know, we could have saw something like this down to this range and then a push higher, right? Maybe try to make a new high. But that's not what we saw. So a lot of times when we start to stall out, like we end up with days, you know, if we go back to any like all-time high day, right? A lot of times that will pull back further, right? But we're kind of not in that zone. But, you know, a lot of times we end up with like things like this. You can see where we end up with like 3 or 4 days that are just, you know, perfectly up and down, right? We end up, this happens more often than you would think, right? You could even say like that, right? But you can say right here too, with these two candles, you can see it right here, right? Very similar ranges, right? So it's kind of like an expected move today, if that makes sense. You know, as a potential range, you know, as we are start to potentially roll back over. I still think that we're probably going to try to make highs. And then also the overnight. You know, overnight we are closing, we are below VWAP on the 15 minutes going into open today, right? You saw us fail to close above VWAP, right? And we get that push to the downside today. We did have this little bounce right here, right? That bounce failing to break VWAP and started to curl over, right? There's no reason for any, y'all. Once we broke this, there's no reason for anybody here to be long whatsoever, right? Failed to, you know, we tested this, failed to break VWAP. We came back to retest it. It breaks. Looking back over here, the next real level of support that we have is probably going to be this range right here, right? On the 15 minute, just look at the 15 minute, right? And so you can see kind of where that range ends up lining up with. You know, now we had some crazy nasty wicks, right? I mean, again, this is not great straight price action right now, but yeah, I mean, trading Qline. A lot of times, what I like to Qline for, I will tell you, is that I like Qline as my trailing a lot of times, right? I might stay in this until I see that Qline completely flip, like right here or right here, right? And it's hard just because my Qline colors are very similar to my candle colors. Let's do this. Let's do the Qline. Qline as yellow and red. Oh no. Qline, yellow and red. All right, so there you go. So now you can see, like, I would, you know, if I caught this short, I might stay in the short until we see that flip right here. Right. That's what I like to use Qline for. That's what I have used Qline for in the past. So I like to initiate my trades off other data. A lot of times I'm looking for, you know, maybe scaps off that midline, right? And then looking to potentially hold until we get a flip on the Qline. And I actually did this even so much so where I traded semi-automatic, right? Where I had the flip on the Qline send exit signals to Tradivate, basically. So no matter if I was in a long or a short, if the Qline flipped, it would exit whatever trade I was in. Now, there's two things there, right? If you're trying to go long here, right, and while the Qline is still red, that's a no-go. That wouldn't work, right? But it helps. Okay, it helps you look at the chart. You're only going to be trading in the direction then of the current Qline, right? And if it starts to flip, your stop is going to be relatively tight. So that is one way where you can kind of do it, a semi-automated, you know, strategy. You know, there's different ways of doing that, but that is one of the ways that I have traded Qline in the past. So. Let's go into here. For YouTube channel, yeah, I've been grabbing 21 ticks. Yeah, 21 ticks is a good 21 ticks is interesting because 21 ticks, well, before Apex changed the rules, you could trade 3 contracts, 21 ticks. And that would be like $305 a day. At the end of 8 days, you could flip for 2, and that would get you to a payout. But now the rules are kind of changed, so you kind of might not be able to do that just like that anymore. You could still get to a payout, but it would be like a minimum payout. You wouldn't be able to take the full 2,000, because now it's like you have to make like $4,000 to make to get 2,000 out. This is kind of starts to get into like territory of like Blue Sky might be better. Take Profit Trader might be better than Apex now. I still think Apex is great, especially if you're not passing evals yet, for sure. Like use Apex 100% until you're passing evals. And then maybe look at switching over to take profit or something. Yeah, so the Qgrid strategy that I've been running, let me turn off Qline really quick. Let's turn off Qline here. So the Qgrid strategy that I've been using, I've gone over this in videos, but it's kind of like I'm just using, that's my Qgrid settings. And I basically have turned off like the buy and sell signals and stuff, right? And like long story short, I mean, it's very similar to the Qline now, the way that I have it set. But long story short, I'm just looking to take longs when this turns over and looking to take shorts. So it can help, especially like zones like this, like where it's like, you see it flip. I could get in long here. We see this little pullback here. Right now, I might be break even, but it hasn't flipped yet. So I'm going to stay in the trade. And you can see that push up and you can see it flip again. So I have really liked the setting using the 4-box Rinko. I almost could probably trade on this exclusively and not have any issue. This is kind of, though, again, does better in higher volatility, early morning, right? Because this would be a win. Like if you went long here, right, this would be a loss. You exit there, so that would be a loss there. But this next trade would be a win then. So I didn't get a chance to see it. Let's do this. Let's screenshot those settings right now for people. Right. This is on a 4-box 1-second Rinko chart, is what I have this set to. And I've really fairly enjoyed this. Now this is very similar to the Qline, a little bit different. I just posted in chat for everybody that's here. Maybe I'll delete it so that way only people that are here get it, and people maybe that go to the YouTube video and like pause and rewind. But I have found a lot of success with that Qgrid. And I've been using it kind of also as like a trailing stop loss, if that makes sense. So if like I enter into a trade, I'll be looking at that potentially as my trailing stop as well. I could probably set up something similar where it's semi-automated, where it's only sending exit signals as well. There are things with semi-automated that get a little bit difficult. I think Anthony tells you not to be logged in on the VPS server while it's trading, mainly just because that way you don't accidentally click on something and it fails to initiate a trade. But if you're semi-automating it, then, you can kind of get away with doing it. I just know that could happen. I like to have the alerts up if I'm doing that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one of those things where, you end up, you can, here's the thing too, is also when you're trading, like just the biggest thing is like, don't over leverage. If you have to go down to micros, go down to micros, right? There's nothing wrong with micros. Like you guys just saw, I just showed that my Blue Sky account, or the new Blue Sky evals I just got. And for the most part, I did trade minis. But like, I mean, yesterday I traded micros and was still able to make like $300-400 during Asian session, right? Last night. You don't have to be loaded up. You don't have to be going crazy, right? I would say on a 50K account, if you're making over like $800-900, you're probably risking too much per day, right? Like your first thing is just like make sure that you are getting to your first payout. Like that's step number 1, y'all. And if you're not getting to your first payout yet, then we have to go backwards and kind of figure out why we're not getting to the first payout. That's my main thing here. It's like if y'all haven't got to your first payout, right? I don't want to say DM me, but like start posting your losses in like the loss channel or something. And maybe I'll start doing like a weekly review call or something where I'll review y'all's trades. Like if y'all take screenshots of your Tradivate trades, right? And record like what day, like if you take a screenshot of your Tradivate chart where I can see the trades, right? I can break down maybe where you're going wrong and maybe what you can do to improve, because everybody's different. Everybody goes through their own thing. Everybody has their own issues with trading, right? Like for example, today, I have a friend recently that he only goes long, right? There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but all his, like out of his past, like I reviewed his trades just recently, is out of his past 34 trades, only 4 of them were short, right? So he just has a hard time seeing the market in reverse, right? And so what he's doing right now is what I told him to do is he's only now taking shorts. That's it. He's not allowed to take longs anymore until he like untrains that part of his brain. So he can see the market. Because his biggest losing trades is when the market starts to go against him, when the market's tanking and he's looking to scalp along, right? He's looking to catch the bottom. So, so he has like this psychological problem right now of looking for the market to only take longs, even when the market's going just falling through the floor, right? And so you have to untrain bad habits is one of the biggest things that you learn in trading. And that can also be like if you're taking way too many trades, taking trades at stupid times, right? If you're taking way too many trades, then you're going to go down to taking 1 trade a day, right? And you're going to be very, very patient on that 1 trade. You're going to be looking at the 5-minute, looking at the 15-minute. Where's that best trade of the day? Okay, the break of structure just broke on the 15-minute chart. Now I'm going to take my 1 short of the day, right? And then you'll be better at taking scalps. It works that way. I wish it didn't. Like I wish like you could just, be fine. But I think the best thing, like the number one thing I think that profitable traders have in common, the number one trait is that we untrain ourselves to not do bad trades. Like that's it. Like I think that's like one of the biggest things that, if I talk to any of my friends that are have been trading for years now, right? That's kind of like trading futures specifically. I think that's something that we've all done on our own. It's kind of like just untraining yourself. Super useful. Hold on a second. I think my cat's like crying. Oh, you're fine. Oh. All right, he's fine. He just wants to come through my window. Hold on. Hey, if you're here, let's go over the NinjaTrader stuff really quick. Why I try to open my window for my cat.
Yeah, sure. I haven't done a lot in the last couple weeks due to some work stuff and vacations. One newer script that we've kind of been playing with lately is called Chop Chop. It takes trades off of the Bollinger Bands, and if a choppiness index is above a certain level. It did pretty decently today. Today was the first day that I've used it, and let's see, it had a high of $650 and it ended out at $360. So I'm going to play around with those settings this week, and I might make some changes on my Qgrid stuff, but we'll see on that. Other than that, I've just been making some minor bug fixes to scripts and looking at some of our members' ideas to come up with some new scripts. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Nice. I opened up my window for my cat. He was like throwing a panic or having like a panic attack at my window. So I opened it up so he could come in, and now he's like, "No, I'm not coming in." I was like, "You're a jerk."
That's a normal cat.
Hey, that pisses me off. Okay, now he's coming in. Now that I've walked away from the window, he's like, "Oh, I want to come in on my own terms."
It's been scientifically proven that cats are jerks.
There he is. There you guys go. Last thing you guys get to see is the cat cam. He's a big old cat. He's 20 pounds. All right. Would love some help. I'm going to answer some more questions. Can we touch on differences between QZeus and Qronos? They're awfully familiar. So I mean, we can really quick. Let's do that. This is going to be the last thing probably here. All right, let's do this. All right, so let's go to the main screen here. Well, let's go back to my face camera really quick. I pull up my face camera just because it's like, y'all, I've been buying indicators and being part of different indicator. Like, I have probably 2,000 indicators like on my invite only stuff on TradingView. Not all are good, right? But it's like I want to see what people are doing, and like I want to constantly be learning and stuff. So the reason why I don't like showing it though is because it's like I don't want people to see something on there and then be like, oh, like he has that, right? It must be good. No, that does not. Just because I have it does not mean it's good. Does not mean it works either. So if you ever see something, let's go to the main screen here. Okay. Well, let me get Qronos up as well. Oh my gosh, my cat is dirty. There's dirt all over my keyboard and all over my desk. He's muddy. How are you muddy? Oh my goodness. It's like my cat went and rolled in mud and just came and got it all over my desk. What a jerk. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back to Qronos now. And so right off the bat, right, the similarities are going to be, Zeus is kind of based off Qronos. So to get Qronos, the closest to Qzeus settings is going by changing the time to 12, right? Forcing Heikinashi's, keeping it on original, increasing the stop to about 15, and then taking the scalp profit to 1, right? That pretty much gets you almost identical settings to Qzeus, right? Very, very close. So if we turn off and on Qzeus and Qronos, you can kind of see how they're similar. Let's see, force client time close, make sure that they're the same in terms of that force time close. I honestly think that they should be probably closer than that even. I'm just checking the times, 9:35. So yeah. But so you can see in the P&Ls how close they are. I think QZeus is using a default of 2 contracts, I think here. Nope. So why? All right. Qronos is using a default of 2. Okay, so now they should be similar. Pretty similar. They're pretty close. Let's see. Am I missing something in Qronos that I'm not thinking of really quick? Allowed tier exits. I want to turn that off. I'm going to turn off adaptive stop. No, I'm going to leave that on. So yeah, I mean, so they're similar. So those are should be similar settings. If we look at this last trade that it took on Friday, you'll see that if I turn those off and on, so that's QZeus's entry right there, and this is Qronos's entry. So same entry, right? Same profit level. Still looking for the same profit target as well. But yeah, so that's kind of that. So you can get very, very similar results with Qronos as QZeus. And you know, the one, oh, I know why the price difference is there. I'm silly. So the price difference between these two, I was like looking at this chart, I was like, man, something's not right. The difference between QZeus and Qronos is the fact that QZeus is going to be using martingale, right? The same percent win rate. So they're winning the same amount of trades, just Qronos had doubled its position size on every loss right here, or QZeus did, right? And Qronos didn't. So you can see when it won really, really big here. And so you can kind of see what that looks like in the P&L, you know, an $8,000 increase in overall P&L, but it also with the QZeus, because it's doing that, you can also see the max drawdown on QZeus is almost $8,000, right? Versus Qronos is safer with a max drawdown of only $3,500, right? Now, again, I kind of like manually trading these. You know, I think that they are great. But I also, for example, here, right? I can go over, yeah, this trade right here from, what is this? This is Thursday's trade. I'm trying to think of what the day looked like on Thursday and where we are in the overall market. So like, I mean, for me, this level right here, right? The midnight level is a big level. And when we came down to, and we wick here and we wick the overnight level here, right? And we don't break through that, that's very dangerous, I think, right? So when we don't close below this level here on the 5 minute, this kind of overnight level, and we just wick it, that's a very dangerous thing. And I think for me, if I saw that, you know, we were pushing this, I might be looking to get into this position if I was to manually trade this up near this level, right? And as soon as we start to close like this on these candles, and you can clearly see this trajectory, right? Off these wicks, one of two things is going to happen. It's either that we're going to break up to the outside, right? And we're going to take out all this and just shoot up like we did, right? Or we're going to break this and make a new low, right? You know, I would have not held till the end of day, right? I mean, I would have been out of this trade a lot sooner than this, right? It's probably as soon as we started to break above these wicks here on this candle right here, I'd be looking to exit. So, yeah, I mean, you can kind of do whatever with it, but Qronos is great. I just kind of went over how to set it up like QZeus, right? And get those same trades. You could technically manually martingale, or you can martingale every single day, right? So if you had a losing day, the next day you martingale up, just like QZeus, but you're doing it on a day basis, so not a per trade basis, right? So you can do the same thing. And I mean, the other dangerous thing to do is don't force close at trade, or if you don't force it, it did actually win more, I think. I could be wrong about this. 84, yeah. So if it actually won more if you don't force it, you kind of have to go through the back testing and look at that. But yeah, so that's how I use it. There are a lot of people in our Discord that have posted their overfitting settings, and I have used overfitting settings, and I've been testing overfitting settings. So if I like go out to here and go just like Qronos, oh my gosh, he just rubs his face against my hand. There's mud all over my hand. Gosh, what's a Q? Let's see, Moneyball Qronos testing. So like, and I'm just showing y'all this because why not? So you can see here, I have 8 charts that I've kind of just, these are settings that I've come up with, right? And I've just been letting them run for a while just to kind of see what they do, right? This is 5 minute, which is not great. This one's not good either. This is on a 1 minute using some Heikinashi stuff. A lot of these have fallen apart, right? So this is where it's like, like a lot of these I did overfit, right? This is probably the closest one to being somewhat decent. but you know, I think it's running. This is an old version of Qronos. Actually, this isn't even the current version, but you can kind of see the offsets and me messing with it. And I messed with this a long time ago, but that drawdown's no good. So you can go in and try to overfit things. Does it work? Yes. You know, I've even tried to do it on something like this. This is SPX. This is a overfitted one for SPX as well. But you can kind of see the trades that it takes. And this is on a 1 minute. So it's not bad. But it does go through some pretty big drawdown because it will do stuff like that on a 1 minute. It will get lose, you know, and then it might win. So it does get chopped up fairly a lot on a 1 minute. So, you know, that's the thing. I typically just stay away from overfitting. I would go with the settings that, you know, is recommended and stick with those. Would love some help in understanding why I continue to fail at this. Haven't yet seen a payout, and I've been at this for a few years. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If it depends. Okay. Like not getting a payout for over a year to me, I hope I don't hurt people's feelings here, but to me, it's like, that's really hard to do. It's really hard to do because I feel like if you just stick with the same strategy, right? Like we're going to minimize that, but it's like, if you just stick with like something as simple as, you know, shorting when off of VWAP or going long off of VWAP only, right? And you have a tight 15-point stop, right? Like, okay, like we come up here, right? Let's see. Let's see. We need to look at it on the day. So we came down, right? Even if we took the short right here, right? And you have a 15-point stop. Oh no, this is ES. So it would be like a 3-point stop on ES, right? You have a 3-point stop on ES, right? And you're looking for, let's just say you're looking for 6 points on ES, right? So double, have a, you know, double. You lose that trade. You see that we're making a shelf, right? You flip that trade, right? I mean, with proper risk to reward, you have a 3 stop, right? Like, and you're aiming for 6, right? And you do this every single day. You just map that same thing out every single day, right? I feel like, you know, you end up with days, like it's not always going to work, right? But like a 930 comes around right here, right? We this red line up here is VWAP. You take that short, that's 6 points right there. You're done for the day, right? The next day, it's like, I'm trying to show people this because it's just like, that would have worked, right? Well, why is it not letting me? Oh, my cat is holding down the control button. Just, you know, right here, this is open right here. We come down, you take a long, you lose that trade. You'd probably lose 2 trades here, right? You're probably not going to, you lose 2 trades right there. And then you would just be done for the day, maybe, right? But it's like, my whole point is that, like, if you do that long enough, right? Just a simple, like, I'm just buying off VWAP, right? You'll end up with 8 winning trading days in a row. Like, you should be able to get to at least a single payout, right? Just by doing something like that. Like, you will end up with days where it ends up, you know, you end up with profit, right? And that you will get to a payout, right? I mean, I would even say like you just, I would have to look at your trading, and maybe you're switching your trading style too much, right? You're not, I, you know, and you might have to also just like, I would say you need to figure out what's your biggest losing trades. This is kind of gets into like, I would have to see your trading and tell you, maybe help you what you're doing wrong, which I don't mind doing. If you want to uh, post your losses in the loss lessons, right, and at me, um, you know, we can go from there. I'm totally open to do that. See if I can't take you, from, or help you get your first payout. I also think like too, like if you're having a hard time, like maybe, you know, looking to take longs off the 50 moving average has also been like a really nice one as well. Um, but yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't know what your ish or what you're having a problem with. But I'm very open to try to see if I can help you, man. Who is using Leon Grid right now? I don't know. I'm running some tests and stuff, but not actively using it.
I've been using it quite a bit. It's time for a settings change, to be honest. I have one that runs better than most. It's running just on NQ, taking some short scalps off of it. I've dropped the profit targets down on MNQ, and it's functioning a little bit better, but still in this market right now, it's not working as well as it once was.
Yeah.
I've seen better results doing it manually than using the automated system that we've been playing with. You know, you get to make the choice. It seems to work a little bit better, but we'll change the settings around and get it a little bit going a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the thing too with like if you're having if just it also depends. Like if you're trading and if you're trading every single day and you're not yet profitable, that's one thing. But it's like, I don't know his situation. He might be trading like once a week, or only at a weird hour or something. You know, again, I think I made a video about this, but trend lines are your friend, right? I made a short called "Trend Lines Are Your Friend," right? And it's true. Like, I mean, just looking at today, like you can see this clear trend line down, right? You can see us pull away from it when we start to accelerate, right? And you can see when we break that trend line, right? This is a good opportunity for a long, right? You can see when that trend line breaks, right? You can see that potentially this is another good entry for a long, right? But even if so you identified like the bigger trend line, right? Then look for that big move down, right? And that pullback, right? Potentially for a short, right? Big move down, looking for the pullback. Didn't quite get back to the trend line, right? But then you could look for a short. And you can do this over and over again. You're looking for the pullback to the trend line, right? Look for a short, right? I mean, that's a great setup. Over and over and over again, you can do that on the 2-minute. And if it starts to break and close above that trend line, right, then you get out. That's it. I mean, it's a relatively easy trading concept and trading idea on a 2-minute. So that's you kind of just need to figure out like your style, and maybe you're over leveraging, maybe you're just doing too much. I am been trading platinum using the Q Pro, but trying to find the best Renko settings, traditional 3 ATR, 5-minute, or anything that I would suggest. Platinum's interesting because not a lot of people trade platinum. I have traded platinum. In fact, I have a platinum chart. I have a lot of platinum charts. So do I have a platinum Rinko chart? I do not have a platinum Rinko chart. I do have platinum 5-minute using QSumo though. And I've had this one for a while. I don't know if it performs well. No, that one doesn't perform well. This is me just trying to test different ideas here. Someone's outside my house right now. I was trying to figure out who that was. So I mean, platinum's interesting. First off, I don't trade anything under 1 to 5. Like if you're using a Rinko, it's 1 to 5 seconds all the time, right? So platinum, I'd probably do 1 second here. Just because I like the way that it moves. I would also probably do traditional. And then I would probably try to make it maybe I want to say or you type 0.5. I would probably suggest 0.5. 0.5 gives you big moves. Hold on, let me turn off the trend trader here and see. Yeah, I'd probably go with like 0.5. Personally, I think that gives me detail, but also helps prevent some chop. I think the big thing with platinum too is just like you look at like the bigger trends. The problem with platinum specifically is that platinum's harder to trade on prop firms. If I trade platinum, right, I'm looking like, for example, if I take this long here, right, I'm staying in this long for, probably 24 hours until I see this trend break, right? And so that's the problem with trading platinum on a prop, right? If I identify this pullback right here, right, and I enter it into a short here on Monday at 8:40, right, I'm staying in that short probably until Tuesday. A lot of times platinum's like these longer 24-hour trades, if not longer sometimes. So that's the only issue with platinum, is that it's not very prop friendly, right? But I will say that I feel like it likes to support its trend lines, right? And I think that I have another platinum chart, by the way. I guess I didn't call it plat. I probably called it something stupid like Superman or something. So I like platinum on the 1 hour, because you get these nice trends. I even like it on the 4 hour, to be honest with you. You can see, like, it was earlier this year, I took a platinum trade that was like this. And it's sometime in June. I think I got in it on May 22nd or something, but I was in that for until June something, right? So I do like platinum. I like platinum on like the 4 hours. I like it on these bigger time frames. I think that's where platinum is the best. I would have to play with platinum on Professor. I would have to play with platinum using Q Pro, because I haven't set platinum up with Q Pro. So let me play around with that for a little bit. And I'll kind of see what I come up with. And because my experience with platinum is usually on just these longer, bigger time frames. And I haven't played around with it that much with like a Qgrid or anything like that. So let me do that. I'll do that, and then I will post my findings, and I will at you later tonight about that. I love platinum, not just for trading. Right now, I'm mostly focused on NQ and algos. Yeah, thank you. I agree. Is some success in the morning trading. would you suggest that I not use Rincos? I mean, yeah, I don't know. It depends on how many contracts that you're trading with. You know, like if you have a 300K account, then yeah, like Platinum's fine. Just, you know, we just have to play with the Rincos settings and stuff. I'll play with it. I'll play with it a little bit tonight, kind of see what I can come up with. Because I'm used to just trading Platinum on bigger time frames. You know, a lot of those times when I do trade Platinum, I'm trading on my own personal account, much bigger trades usually, but willing to hold for much longer periods of time. So also, well, I don't know if they can or not, but somebody could look this up. Elite used to let you, I know Elite had accounts where you can hold overnight. I don't know if they still have those accounts or not. In fact, so if they still have those accounts, then and you trade Platinum, that might be worth looking into as well. But yeah, I mean, I would love if I could figure out how to trade. Platinum just trades in the same direction, very trendy in my opinion. And so, you know, when we get a move down, we get a move down. When we get a move up, we get a move up. You know, it's like very trendy. Anyways, all right, I think that's it. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. If you have questions, DM me or at me in the chat, and I will try to respond. And I'm going to take a break for a little bit, and then when I come back to play with Platinum charts, I might do like a little live stream. Not a live stream, but a little I might jump in like the public chat or something and just live stream my screen while I'm playing with it. So if you want to just stop in later tonight in the voice chat, feel free. All right. Talk to you all later. Peace.